01, 02.
Hey everybody, it's good to see you all here. Happy Monday. Peace from Donnie, and got my friends over here.
Mark Allen Church,
Rules.
first watching.
Mark Allen Church, first guy on. All right, welcome, Mark. Good to see you. I guess what I do, I guess it kind of works for me to ramble, just slightly, so that people have time to log on. Oh, we got 21 people on here already.
That's right. Yeah.
Tyler, hello, my friend. Good to see you. Tyler Grady.
On our TV.
God bless you, man. Seriously. And Mary, Sally McNeil, and 17 other people are watching me. Wow, that's it. You all came on quickly, I guess.
Varda.
Debbie and George and Marnie and well, cheers to you guys. I'm drinking the Sinatra Select that somebody sent me. I posted a picture of it earlier. It's this beautiful box, and I'm not singing Sinatra tonight, but I thought, well, it's a lovely thing.
A lot of people saying hi, Dennis.
Hachamama. Yeah. Hi, Lynn and Marnie and Ellen and Debbie and another Lynn. There's two Lynns. Both spell your name the same way. With the E. Hi, Shannon. Shannon. Carousel memories, my dear. So, 75 years ago, yesterday, the musical Carousel opened on Broadway at the Majestic Theater.
45?
1945. 1945. And starring Jan Clayton and John Raitt, among others. And it went on to become truly one of the mainstays of American musical theater and provided some beautiful, famous songs, of course. But it also put John on the map, John Raitt, and it really established Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein too as mainstays and the kind of the creators of what we know as today the modern American musical and the formula. So, and then in 1999, Time Magazine named Carousel the musical of the century. The same century that created Oklahoma and South Pacific, and the same century that created Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera and West Side Story.
Wow.
That's pretty tough competition, if you ask me. I'm sure a lot went into that decision. It's pretty bold. But when you think about the fact that 1945, Rodgers and Hammerstein were addressing issues like spousal abuse.
WW2?
Yeah, that was, that was a time, World War II just ending. So it was a powerful time for people to get out there. I had not read the article or anything about it, but all that to say that it's a powerful thing. I did the musical 175 different times in 3 productions. And I'll tell you a quick story, which is that as I start this sort of story line that I've created, is that John Raitt was invited to Chicago to personally do a live audition. Here he is, this unknown kid from Yorba Linda, Redlands area. And he was invited to Chicago to sing personally for Rodgers and Hammerstein to replace Alfred Drake in the musical Oklahoma. So the cool part of the story, well, there's all kinds of parts of the story, but this part of the story is he got the part in Oklahoma. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me ride by. And a little brown maverick is winking her eye. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy, it don't miss a bee tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nice to have you. So, John became a dear friend of mine. He would tell a story about his younger days as a singer. And at the age of 17, he was between tenor and baritone. And so, I don't know how he arranged, but he arranged for a meeting with the then great Metropolitan Opera bass baritone, John Charles Thomas. And he got to go and meet him. John was 17 at the time, at the Riviera Country Club up in Pacific Palisades in the clubhouse. And in the big room, he sang for him. And he said, Mr. Thomas, I would really like your advice, whether to be, based on what you hear, whether I should be a baritone or a tenor. And John Charles Thomas, John would do a full imitation of him. He'd say, boy, he said, better to be a full-blooded baritone than a half-baked tenor. And so John stuck with being a baritone, but he had the notes, man. He had the tenor notes. So we'll go, and of course, I'm wearing the Riviera shirt on purpose because the story comes to an epilogue at the other end of his life where he ends up living overlooking the 18th hole of the Riviera Country Club. And so I have lots of stories from that. But so I'm wearing my Riviera shirt in honor of that. And but let's get back to the audition. yes, he did get the part of Curly in Oklahoma, but they called him down after his audition, and Richard Rodgers said, we really like you, and we'd like you to take the part of Curly, but we're working on this new musical that we think you might just be perfect for. And of course, it was Carousel. So he got that role, and just another story from the house to sort of set up this song. After John had passed, we had 3 or 4 dinner parties and gatherings up at the house with Rosie, his wife, Rosemary, and his stepdaughter, Sally, and then some friends, people like Charlie Runnels, who was the president of Pepperdine, and Art and Lois Linkletter. So anyway, it was the first time we were all together, and it was time to kind of rally around Rosie and fill her life a little bit. Rosie looked at me and instructed me, pointing at John's seat at the end of the dining room table. She says, "Dennis, you sit there." And we all got our food and sat down, and here I am looking at at Rosie, and she looked at me and she said, "Dennis, would you sing one of John's songs?" And this is the song that I sang. And John was in the room that night. If I loved you, time and again I would try to say all I'd want you to know. If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way. Round in circles I go, longing to tell you, but afraid and shy. I'd let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me, off you would go in the mist of day. Never, never to know. I love you. If I love you. Soon you'd leave me, off you would go in the mist of day. Never, never to know. How I love you. How I love you. Thank you. Well, that was quite a moment for me. I felt I channeled John. Hi, neighbors. Channeled John for Rosie to deliver that message. It was very poignant. By the way, hi Dean, good to see you. Welcome, and Charlene and Tracy and Alice and more Lynn's. And anyway, it's great to see all of you here. So I was going to share a little something. John gave me a little gift early on in our friendship. This is his copy of the soliloquy. It's got all the notes, pencil markings, scribbles. It's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy that lived with him through the years. He signed it over to me, said, to Dennis, have fun with this. My best, John. And it's been a treasure of mine and a memento of a great friendship that I had. But that friendship started when I was doing the American musical, well, we used to call it the Music Theater Workshop, but it was the Center for the American Musical Training, something like that.
MTW.
Yeah, whatever it was. It was at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, 12 straight weeks, 8 hours a day, and John was on the board. Paul Gleason was our grand poobah that ran it, and another dear friend, and a dear friend of John's, very, very, very much so. I met John there because John was involved. I was getting ready to do Carousel with a friend of mine, Keith Rice. We both had the same voice teacher, and we were headed to Denver to do my first Carousel. I'm not sure whether it was his first or not, but he was Billy Bigelow and I was Mr. Snow. And I decided to look up John, having had met him and, you know, kind of had struck off a friendship and relationship through the Music Center. And thought, you know, well, we chat for a little while and maybe a photo op or something. And of course, I don't even think there was a camera involved. Of course, there were no phones, no cell phones. But anyway, it ended up being a 2 or 3 hour long story after story about the soliloquy and this, and if you hold this note, and oh, he was so proud of his performance of doing the soliloquy on the Ed Sullivan Show, and finished it with go out and steal it, or make it, or steal it, or take it, or die. So be sure, look that up. I'm not going to do it that way because I'm not going to steal his thunder, but go look up his Ed Sullivan performance of the soliloquy. It is a doozy. Anyway, that story ends with me getting back in my car and realizing I had a surfboard that I had just picked up, and it was sitting in my car, and my car had been sitting in the sun. And the entire top of the surfboard, all the wax, had just completely melted off both sides and onto the seats and the floor and the dashboard. And my car was never the same. But hey, it was John Ray. What was I gonna do? So anyway, back to the story of John and his audition in Chicago for Curly. He auditioned with an English translation of Rossini's Barber of Seville, Barber aria, and that really inspired Richard Rodgers to write this next song, which is kind of one of the tour de forces of the entire Broadway repertoire, and is the soliloquy. So that's my next number. So wish me luck. I found this accompaniment. They don't follow me, I have to follow them, so cheers. And let's set it up a little bit. Billy Bigelow falls in love with Julie Jordan. They have a love scene where they sing If I Loved You together. Things progress. There's tumultuous ups and downs, but she's just delivered the news that she's going to have a baby. And that he is going to be a father. I wonder what he'll think of me. I guess he'll call me the old man. I guess he'll think I can lick every other fella's father. Well, I can. I guess that he'll turn out to be the spitting image of his dad. But he'll have more common sense than his puddin'-headed father ever had. I'll teach him to wrestle and dive through a wave when we go in the mornings for a swim. His mother can teach him the way to behave, but she won't make a sissy out of him. Not him, not my boy, not Bill. Bill, my boy Bill, I will see that he's named after me. I will. My boy Bill, he'll be tall and as tough as a tree. Will Bill, like a tree, he'll grow with his head held high and his feet planted firm on the ground. And you won't see nobody dare to try to boss him or toss him around. No, fat bottom, flabby faced bastard will boss him around. And I don't give a damn what he does. As long as he does what he likes. He can sit on his tail or work on a rail with a hammer and spikes. He can ferry a boat on a river or pedal a pack on his back or work up and down the streets of a town with a whip and a horse and a hack. He can haul a scow along a canal, run a cow around a corral, or maybe bark for a carousel. Of course, it takes talent to do that well. He might be champ of the heavyweights, or a fella that sells your glue, or president of the United States. That'd be all right too. His mother would like that, but he wouldn't be president unless he wanted to be. Not Bill. My boy Bill, he'll be tall and as tough as a tree. Will Bill, like a tree, he'll grow with his head held high and his feet planted firm on the ground. And you won't see nobody dare to try to boss him or toss him around. No, fat bottom, flabby face, pot belly, baggy eyed bully will boss him around. And I'm damned if he'll marry his boss's daughter, a skinny-lipped virgin with blood like water who'll give him a peck and call it a kiss and look in his eyes through a lorgnette. Say, why am I taking on like this? My kid ain't even been born yet. I can see him when he's 17 or so, and starting in to go with a girl. I can give him lots of pointers very sound on the way to get round any girl. I can tell him, wait a minute, could it be? What the hell? What if he is a girl? A girl? Oh, Bill. What would I do with her? What would I do for her? A bum with no money. You can have fun with a son, but you've gotta be a father to a girl. She mightn't be so bad at that. A kid with ribbons in her hair, the kind of sweet and petite little tin type of her mother. What a pair, my little girl, pink and white as peaches and cream, is she. But my little girl is half again as bright as girls are meant to be. Dozens of boys pursue her, many a likely lad does what he can to woo her from her faithful dad. She has a few pink and white young fellas of 2 or 3, but my little girl gets hungry every night, and she comes home to me. My little girl, my little girl. Gotta get ready before she comes. I've gotta make certain that she won't be dragged up in slums with a lot of bums like me. She's gotta be sheltered and fed and dressed in the best that money can buy. I never knew how to get money, but I'll try. By God, I'll try. I'll go out and make it, or steal it, or take it, or die. Well,
Your head's gonna explode.
when seriously, it's a tour de force. When I sing that, of course, I think the irony of it all is I got girls. And John was in the middle of singing that on stage, and after he finished singing that, looked off the wings, they delivered the news that he had just had a girl. That's when Bonnie was born.
What was that from again?
Carousel, that opened 75 years ago yesterday on Broadway. So, cheers, John. Anyway, John, he had all kinds of things. There's a death scene, you know, because Billy Bigelow dies in this. It's sort of the tragedy of the whole thing. The whole story is based on Ferenc Molnar's play Liliom, and I've got the book sitting around somewhere. But anyway, the character, Liliom, Billy Bigelow, dies tragically in a kind of a botched robbery. You know, he was desperate, and so he goes to heaven. Now, the way they portray heaven, and the first guy he meets is not Saint Peter, it's not God, it's not Jesus, it's the Star Keeper, and that's his title role. The star, not title, but that is his name in the piece. And I've done this 3 different productions. The third one was in Phoenix. I started in Denver, then we did another one in Fort Worth, then we finished in, not finished, it wasn't a tour, but the last one I did was in Phoenix. And the Star Keeper in Phoenix was Buddy Ebsen. And so Billy is really ticked off that he is dead. And in fact, John talks about it because there's a very beautiful scene where, you know, Billy dies and, Julie is lying over him. But John told one of the tricks because at one point in the musical, she lays a shawl of the scene. She lays a shawl over him. And as she lays it, he, just at the same time, lifts his arms just like 3 inches off of his chest. And so that way, he can continue to breathe. Little stage trick you learned from John Ray. So that was always his trick, because if you just laid there, your stomach, that's everybody wants to see. Is he breathing? Is he breathing? How's he doing that? So lift the hands. So there, you learned it here first. So anyway, he's really pissed off that he's dead. He looks at the star keeper, who says, I've got some questions here. He says, I don't want no star keeper. I want to go see God himself. I want to go to the highest judge of all. And the star keeper says, I'm the one asking the questions. I'll do the asking and you'll do the answering and you'll go where I tell you. And he then proceeds to sing this next song, which is a song that I've enjoyed singing in his honor, and one of the places I've sung it is the Supreme Court, of all places, for all the highest judges of all. But that's a different story. The highest judge of all. Take me beyond the pearly gates, through a beautiful marble hall. Take me before the highest throne, and let me be judged by the highest judge of all. Let the Lord shout and yell, let his eyes flash flame. I promise not to quiver when he calls my name. Let him send me to hell, but before I go, I feel that I'm entitled to a hell of a show. Want pink-faced angels on a purple cloud, twanging on their harps till their fingers get red. Want organ music, let it roll out loud, rolling like a wave, rushing over my head. Want every star in heaven shining in the room, shining in my eyes when I hear my doom. Reckon my sins are good big sins, and the punishment won't be small. So take me before the highest throne, and let me be judged by the highest judge of all. So there.
Shortest great song ever.
Shortest great song of all. Imagine singing that song while Clarence Thomas and Justice Kennedy, Tony Kennedy, and John Roberts and Sandra Day O'Connor are all staring at you. and I'm pointing at them.
It's like a Green Day song.
Exactly. There's a story from the Supreme Court I love to tell, because the highest court of all is actually, in the United States that is actually not the Supreme Court. You probably didn't know that. Well, right above the Supreme Court is a basketball court.
Because there's 10 that night.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
There's also one at the top.
how many, is it 9, are there 9 players on a basketball team?
Oh, wait, my bad. There's 10.
Are there 10?
10?
Yeah. Anyway, that's another little bit of trivia. So, John and we did Zorba together, Zorba the Greek, and John lived by a whole bunch of Zorba-isms. I believe, and things that Zorba would say in the musical. I believe in grabbing at life. Every minute a new minute, every second a new second. Never happened before. And this one he really loved to say, and I live by it myself. The only real death is the death you die each day by not living. Well, I thank John for being my friend, for enhancing my life. And because of John, I got to kiss Helen Hayes. I got to kiss Bernadette Peters. I got to kiss, of course, his daughter, Bonnie. And I got to kiss Carol Channing. And, you know, I made out with all of them, just so you know. Let me just give you that. I mean, like, full-on dip, no. But he's was close enough that he sang at my wedding, and I spoke at his funeral. And at Bonnie's invitation, and so it was that close. So I'm teetering on, you know, do I cry or keep going? So what I thought I would do, there's a couple of things. Before I forget, this has been on the front page of my thing ever since Friday. I want to wish Joanne Reed a happy 90th birthday party. And happiest 90th birthday. Everybody here is wishing it to you. Dan Reed asked me to wish you that, and I'm sorry that I forgot on Friday. I forgot Saturday, I forgot Sunday, but I did today. I know I'm running long, but there was something I was going to do before closing, and that is read the lyrics from one of the songs that John sang in Zorba that kind of pretty much spoke to that spirit of Zorba. It's a song called I Am Free. I have nothing, and I read it at his funeral. I have nothing. I want nothing. I am free. I need nothing. I owe nothing. I am free. If my feet say come this way, I probably would. If my feet say go that way is just as good. I ask nothing. I judge nothing. I am free. I see somewhere, I go somewhere. I am free. I fear nothing. I hope for nothing. I am free. And that's how I remember him. So I'm going to close with this another song from Carousel, and then one last final thought. But it's a song I've already sung a couple of times, and it fits the time we're in being the Corona time. It's called You'll Never Walk Alone, and I'm not walking alone because you guys are all here with me, and hopefully you feel me with you, and I'm very moved by all of your comments. And I've got like 4 shows on backlogged and reading all of them and liking them and actually loving them all, and so that's my evening project. Anyway, here we go. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, everybody.
Can you bring a glass? Or is that a myth?
It's a myth, but my voice teacher used to push, whenever I worked with him, this is my New York voice teacher, he would push a glass of water toward me after vocalizing for a while, and he'd push it toward me and they'd say, here, wash down some of the damaged material.
Don't need water to liquor.
So I'm doing that. Well, I'm sure that you all were expecting more of a 420 show. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow.
I forgot.
In closing, I just want to tell you that John and I had a scene at the end of Zorba the Greek, the musical Zorba, every night where Nikos and Zorba, we've been through everything, and we've come to the end, basically, of our story and our relationship, and we're going in separate directions. And John accuses me of, Zorba says, you're going to go with your books and things. I look at him and I say, and you, where will you go? And as Zorba, he looks at his feet, and they're pointing this way, and he follows them, and he says, this way, I guess. And you know what? This time that we're in, just go with it. Go this way. And we'll get through this. We will, I promise. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me tell you a little bit about my story. Here's to John. Here's to Carousel. Here's to Rogers and Hammerstein. Here's to Julie Jordan and Billy Bigelow. May they live forever and ever. God bless everybody. Thank you.